gonna try not to be long with this video, but this article caught my attention. Now, earlier I had just finished uploading like 3 different articles on my WordPress page. Now I'm gonna put the link to my WordPress on the bottom, and you guys go check this out, where there's 3 cases, maybe 4, of melanated dudes that's killing their children. They're killing their children, and there's one article which I'm going to show you in this video after I show you this, where this dude sexually assaulted a child and he received no jail time. But then I look at this article and it says 82 people arrested after multiple state child pornography sting. Now, they're going over and beyond when it comes to child pornography. Why is it that it seems like they're more concerned about child pornography than children that's being sexually assaulted and murdered? They seem to be more concerned about child pornography than the child sex trafficking on the border. They're putting money, time, and energy into child pornography stings, but yet you have child sex trafficking right at the border, which they don't want to fund, and they're letting actual child predators and molesters off the hook, which makes no sense to me. Now, look at this image. In this image, you see that they came heavy. They got cars out there, they got law enforcement out there, whatever their sting operation is referred to, but they went over and beyond to catch people at home that possess child pornography. Now, there were some children that might have gotten in the way of that. They were injured, they were harmed, because that's how they were able to get those images. But when you have some pervert that's sitting at home that had nothing to do with these kids having their photos taken, these are the ones that they are targeting. It's almost like the gun control laws and how they are attacking armed gun owners, but yet the criminals, they're leaving them untouched and they're leaving them armed. But that's not what this is about. I'm going to read a brief portion of this article, and you can go to WordPress and check it out for yourself. Authorities say a roundup operation targeting child pornography suspects resulted in 82 arrests across 8 southern states or southeastern states. Georgia Bureau of Investigation said in a news release Friday that 31 of the arrests occurred in Georgia. Most of them involved charges of possessing and distributing child pornography. The GBI said some were charged after making plans to have sex with people the suspects met online and believed were minors, but were actually law enforcement officers. Now, these people hadn't actually committed a crime yet. And this takes my mind back to the movie Minority Report. I believe that's the movie where they were charging people for pre-crimes, crimes that they had not yet committed. They had it in their minds and their hearts to commit the crimes, and they were charged for committing these crimes. But in this respect, you have people that's actually committing crimes and going untouched. It's the people that's benefiting off of these crimes that's being targeted, not the ones that actually committed the crimes. It says investigators said a total of 82 people were arrested and 17 children were rescued or identified as a result of the operation. Officials said the suspect ranged in the age of 20 to 70. Some of their occupations included nonprofit employee, small business owner, store clerk, mechanics, daycare administrator, youth group leader. And notice, keep in mind, a lot of these job functions they have are dealing directly with children. So you have these perverts that's getting jobs where they're able to have access to these kids, right? This is how they're getting access to their kids. But I always say that parents need to be more active in their children's lives, man. Not just putting them before an iPad or a computer or a cell phone and just leaving them, okay? Or dropping them off at some daycare center because you have other plans or you just don't want to be bothered with them, okay? So these are like job functions that deal with children. Youth group leader, former high school band director, freelance photographer, construction worker, and painter. And then it says about 170 agencies also took part in the crackdown that also included in Florida, Alabama, Maryland, North Carolina, and South Carolina, Virginia, and West Virginia. The GBI said Operation Southern Impact 3 was planned for 4 months, and the arrest came after 3 days of undercover operation, executing search warrants and other actions. Now, that's one article, and you can find this article at my WordPress, which I'm going to put at the bottom, and you guys can check it out for yourself. And while you're there, don't forget to donate. Now, check out this article, which is also on my WordPress page. Man who kept girl in dog cage, sexually assaulted her, won't serve prison time. But wait, 82 people were arrested after a multi-state child pornography sting. Photos. But yet here's a guy that not only sexually assaulted the girl, but kept the girl in a dog cage, and he won't serve prison time. What's going on with this picture? Michael, Wild Sloppy, whatever his name is, 33, was given 10 years in prison, but would get off with time served from the 8 months he spent in a detention center prior to sentencing. This is the guy right here. That's his face. And that's his mugshot. A Georgia man in the South. Keep in mind, this was a Southern sting, a Southern child pornography sting on that first article I read. Now, a Georgia man was sentenced to 10 years in prison last week after holding a teenage girl captive and sexually assaulting her, but he will not see the inside of a prison cell. Michael was arrested in June 2017 after FBI agents found a 17-year-old girl who had been missing for over a year, trapped in a dog cage in his home in Duluth, Georgia, a suburb of Atlanta. The Atlanta Journal-Constitution reported that the victim, who HuffPost will not name because she is a sexual assault survivor, was found severely malnutrition and suffering from back problems due to the dog cage. She had also contracted ringworm from the unsanitary conditions. The psychological damage Michael inflicted is beyond imagination. The victim, clutching a stuffed animal, said in court last week, according to local outlet WIS News. Wasaviki, whatever his name is, pled guilty last week in first degree. He pled guilty last week to first degree cruelty to children and interstate interference with custody. Although he was sentenced to 10 years in prison, he received credit for time served during the 8 months he was in a detention center prior to his sentencing. The remaining 9 years and 4 months of his sentence will be served on probation, and he will have to register as a sex offender for life. And then says, I don't see any emotion from you. I don't see any remorse from you. Gwinnett County Superior Court Judge Timothy Hamel said during sentences, I am not moved to give you first offender status. In my time on the bench, I can count on both hands the time I refuse to give someone first offender status. But there's something inside me that says this is one of those times. And then I'm gonna read this last paragraph. He met the victim when she was 15 in an online chat room for people with eating disorders. AJC reports the girl had anorexia, whatever, was unhappy at home, and he eventually convinced her to come live with him after she turned 16, the age of consent in Georgia. So I'm gonna let you guys read the rest of it. I'm gonna put the link on the bottom, but I just find it interesting that you have on this article the man actually committed a crime. He wasn't sitting at home behind a computer screen or on a cell phone watching child pornography. He actually assaulted a girl, kept this girl in a dog cage, and he gets no prison time. But yet 82 people were arrested after a multi-state child pornography sting. So you have child pornography versus child murder versus child sexual assault. It appears that their priorities are in the wrong position. They're in the wrong place, because this guy gets no time, but 82 people were arrested for the child pornography sting. So what are your thoughts on this? Feedback, tell me what you think. Till next time. I'm fearless.